Well, I'm surprised that it keeps going in sort of a regular pace, because I think 9 years ago I got the 3 million, and about 9 years before that I got 2 million. So it hasn't.
Oh, really? That's interesting. So actually, the number of airplays has been going up steadily. It hasn't dropped off or anything.
Not at all. And so it's about 100,000 a year or something. And this is just America we're talking about. So I think it sort of seems to have sort of ingrained itself into the American musical psyche. But I mean, the real key to this song, why I think it's had so many radio plays in a short amount of time, is because it manages to get played on black radio and white radio. Because in America, the music, the stations are very, very segregated like that.
But even though you're a white band, black music stations will play.
Yeah, I remember when True first came out. I think we were only the third white act to ever do Soul Train on American TV. I remember going into Kiss FM in New York and people being surprised that we weren't black. That was with chart number 1. And I was a soul boy in the 70s. I loved American imports, and I think when I sat down to write this song, I wanted to write an Al Green record. I mentioned Marvin Gaye in the lyrics. And our covers have been mostly black artists, like the Black Eyed Peas covered the song, and Nelly has done interpolations of it, and PM Dawn. So they've been black soul artists. But it also gets played on white pop stations.
Did you know that you had a huge hit on your hands when you wrote it?
I felt good about it, but I was 22. I was still living at home.
I mean, it's that hook on the guitar, isn't it? That's the thing that everybody remembers. So.
Gank. And I think the
But when you came up with that, did you know that was going to what got people?
I think it was the backing vocal line. I'd heard a John Lennon song that went, oh, I, and I thought, I like the way he takes the word I and he just sort of spins it around, and so I kind of did that at the beginning of the song. It was also, as I say, you get all these influences when you're a kid. I felt very happy with it. I remember calling my brother down to listen to it as I played it to him on the bed on guitar. But it wasn't really until we started putting it together in Nassau in Compass Point Studios that I think everyone in the band got very excited about it.
What's it actually about? I've been rereading the lyrics, and I've just been trying to get a handle on it.
It's about me as a songwriter trying to write a song for someone that, but not wanting them to know it's about them. It is
a love song.
It is a love song. It was an unrequited love song. It's a genuinely autobiographical piece. This particular woman gave me a book, Lolita, and in it there's Humbert describes Lolita as having seaside arms. So seaside arms appears in the song. Why do I find it hard to write the next line? That's me as a songwriter speaking about myself when I want the truth to be said, But of course I was shy, I didn't want. What could you say in a song? It's always going to be a slightly cryptic thing.
It's very interesting you say all that, because for lots of people, particularly for my generation, it just conjures up that moment, not writing a song, but that sort of shyness. Perhaps you're at the school disco or maybe a little bit later.
Yeah.
You don't want to approach someone, but you spotted them earlier in the evening, and maybe you then get together for the dance. I mean, it just instantly takes, as I say, a whole generation back to that moment.
Well, and then that was me as a boy writing this song. I know this much is true. That's all I can say. I know that I'm really into you, and I think obviously always when you're writing a song, the things that are most true to you create the best song musically and lyrically.
Why do you think it's lasted then? I mean, it doesn't sound dated, does it?
No.
I mean, there's plenty of music from the 80s that does sound very much of its time.
Well, it doesn't have any of the sort of super quirky 80s sounds and rhythms on it. It was a little bit more classically structured and a little bit more classically produced. As I say, the inspirations were probably coming from 70s soul music. And I think the vocal production still sounds very fresh, especially on that backing vocal. I think the music from the 80s, the 70s, the golden age of pop, where British bands were selling records all over the world, that was the only thing people bought. They didn't buy DVDs, they didn't buy computer games, they didn't buy technology, telephones, they bought records. So millions of people of a certain generation, it's so important to them in their lives, and certain songs were landmarks in their lives, and you know, maybe that's the song you fell in love with. I did a movie with Kevin Costner. He said to me, "That's our song," meaning him and his wife. And I didn't say to him, but I was going to say, well, I thought it was my plumber's song, because he said the same thing as me too, and so did that taxi driver. So it seemed to be synonymous with people falling in love, and of course they'll play that forever.
And do you like that? Are you proud of it, or are you just sick of the song now?
Yeah, I'm proud of it, because you know, it's if I sit and played it on a acoustic guitar, which I sometimes do in some solo shows I've been doing, it still sounds new to me.
You don't feel that it's just, you know, it's obviously a landmark in your career, and that you're sort of stuck with it, even though it was nearly 30 years ago. Some
songs lyrically do date, but this one seems to have survived, you know, and still gets. You know, I think just recently it was some people were singing it on American X Factor, so you know, young kids.
Which is all presumably, and I've got to ask you this, good for your bank balance. It's still being played. I mean, how does it work these days? Do you still get money from those airplays in an age of downloads?
I mean, the award came from the Broadcasting Music Incorporation, who collect money from radio stations for the records that for their members who.
So what do you get per airplay? Is it like 10p or something?
You know, it's not very much in America, believe it or not. Not as much as it is in Britain. To be honest, I don't know, but it's kept me. It's kept my swimming pool heated for. I can pay the rent.